Hey everybody, Howard Partridge coming to you, and I want to share the next installment of reaching your phenomenal dream. In the last video I talked about setting goals and your purpose. In other words, why you want to reach the dream that you want to reach, and putting down some of the goals. So I want to talk to you a little bit about goal setting right now, and sort of how to do that. Now there's a lot to learn about goal setting. You need to have a goals system. Only 3% of the population have a goals and personal development system, and they happen to be the people that make the most money, have the best relationships, so on and so forth. Now there may be people who have better relationships, and maybe they've even got a stronger relationship with God than others who don't make income. But how many of you know that it's not very phenomenal to be deep in debt? You can be very religious and be deep in debt. So we got to always go back to the beginning, and that is, what are you called to do? I'm called to help people build their business, stop being a slave to their business, improve their life. I have an acronym for life, living in freedom every day. And my book, Secrets of a Phenomenal Life, that's what it's really all about, is getting free in the 7 core areas of life. Spiritual, mental, physical. You see, it's not very phenomenal not to be in good shape. And the fact is that when you're not in shape and you're tired, I remember, when I was so out of shape, I was lethargic and it was terrible. I had terrible eating habits. It was from a lack of knowledge. So I had to be inspired. I had to have a dream of being healthy again. And so I started taking some action, and I set some goals, and I lost 50 pounds. I got really, really fit, and I'm really healthy today. So the thing is that you need to understand how to set goals. But first, you got to go back to your big why. You got to go to your dream and say, okay, what am I called to in life? What are my dreams? What's everything I want to be, do, and have? You need to have a dream team around you, people who inspire you, people who stretch you, people who help you understand what your gifts and talents are. Then what you've got to do is you've got to have a picture of that dream. You got to know what you want. Successful people know what they want, and you've got to have a vision of what that lifestyle and what that dream really is. What's the picture of your perfect day? I'm living one of my perfect days right now. Now the thing that'll make it a little more perfect is when I get that house built back there so I can just walk out of my front door. So we're working on that goal. So let me give you a few goal setting tips. First of all, you got to be specific. Have you heard of SMART goals? Specific, measurable, attainable, relative, and timely. All right, so specific, you don't just say bigger, better, whatever. Specifically, how much do you want to weigh? Specifically, how much money are you going to make this year, Lord willing? We always leave it open for God to change the plans, right? Because we live by faith. And the thing is that's why we want to be in prayer. That's why we want to say, hey, God, is this okay? I needed to know that from God that it's okay to have this property. Now, I'm not going to go into debt and spend money that I don't have. So maybe your goal is to be debt-free, right? And so you want to have assets, and you want to be able to fund. You got to fund that dream. So your goals have got to be specific in every area. And secondly, measurable. If you can't measure a goal, if we think about GPS, then we think about going on a trip. Have you ever flown on an airplane and you see the GPS tracking and see where you're taking off from? It tells you where you are and how far you have to go on your GPS in your vehicle. So you got to track your goals. If you can't measure it, you can't manage it, you see. Attainable. See, the dream is the impossible. Michael Gerber says you never really reach the dream. The dream is the impossible. Really, my property back here in Stallworth is not, it's really not really a dream. I mean, it is to me, but it's a possible dream. It's very possible. Now, it may seem impossible to me, but at Michael Gerber's Dreaming Room, he made us really stretch. And what's the impossible dream? And my impossible dream is that the whole world is living in community. Well, I've read the Word of God, and that ain't going to happen. But the fact is that by having that dream, it'll cause me to do things to help people get free, to live life, to create life, living in freedom every day, to relate to one another, to work on themselves, work on their lives. And that impossible dream will help me to create community in all the enterprises that I do. So, they got to be measurable. They got to be attainable. And then they've got to be relative. You see, the thing is that, let's say, you know, I have a goal to build this property. Well, I'll tell you a story about my friend Tom Ziegler, all right? So Tom and I went to Australia together, and when Zig Ziglar passed away, I was over there teaching for the Ziglar Corporation. Tom and I were supposed to be together. He had to stay behind because Zig fell sick, and while I was over there, Zig passed away. And Tom told a story that when he was younger, he wanted to be a professional golfer. He was really, really good. And it was summertime. Dad came home, Zig came home, very excited. And he said, "What's up, Dad?" He said, "Well, I've been invited to go to Australia." And he said, and Tom oftentimes went on trips with him. He said, "Well, can I go?" And Zig didn't say yes, and he didn't say no. What Zig said was, "Let me ask you a question. Right now you're practicing your golf, you're practicing to become a professional golfer, you're putting a lot of time and effort in there, that's your goal. Will going to Australia this summer get you closer to your goal or take you further away from your goal?" Well, Tom didn't go to Australia, but Zig never said no. See, Tom said no because he was focused on his goal. So many times we come up, and listen, I can come up with the most harebrained things, and you got to throw a lot of spaghetti against the wall to make stuff stick. But the point is make sure that your goals are relative to what you really want to achieve. You stay focused on that dream. That's why the dream's got to be right. And then finally, on your goals, you've got to have a timeline, all right? Not a deadline, a lifeline, a timeline that when you reach that, you're going to get even more life in all those areas. See, a timeline, a lifeline on your goals. That I need to save X amount of money by this time. Zig talked about when he wrote his book, he just needed to do a page and a half a day to lose weight. Zig talked about how he just needed to lose, like, you know, a couple of ounces a day or whatever it was. So break your goals down, have the end in sight, and I'll share some more on goal setting because goal setting is so important to reach your dreams. But you can know everything that there is to know about goal setting. If you don't have passion about your dream, if you don't really want your dream, if you really don't have a dream, then goals aren't going to help you because you're not going to implement them anyway. Because the fact is that vision without action is just a daydream. Action without vision is a nightmare. See, they go together. I'll talk about more of that on the next video. I'm going to go find some shade so I can cool off a little bit and do my next video. Howard Partridge coming to you from the Dream Beach. My passion's your phenomenal success. Please join me at the Destin Dream Retreat right down there at Topsail Beach and Racket Resort. It's a phenomenal resort. Santiago and I visited there the other day. I've stayed there before. It's a wonderful, wonderful place. And become a member so that you can reach more of your dreams and goals in life, living in freedom every day. And stay with us down there at Topsail next to the Dream Beach. Take care, everybody.